Howdy, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Dirt Info podcast. This week, we'll chat Carter's decision to hunt the front and we'll recap the Frostbusters. Then, we'll talk a couple of competing late model shows and run down a whole mess of regional and national mod racing happening this weekend. And then, as always, we'll send you home with one for the road.
And then if you could please subscribe, like, follow, comment too. Comments are always good. Share on whatever you're watching on. That'd be greatly appreciated. And with that, Josh, you wanna talk about your shirt you got on today?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, real quick, I just want to shout out my dad. He definitely watches because he was over here for Sherry's birthday party yesterday and was asking if we found a name. So, I know my pops is out there working on a name. So if any of y'all are also working on a name for this segment, like definitely let me know. My dad's name is Troy, so I was thinking Troy's threads could be in play because we know how I like alliteration, right? Like I like when they both start with the same letter. But anyway, my shirt to the shirt itself. So this I actually got for Christmas from Sherry. I think it was 2 years back now, but this is a Ashen Wingers Hell Tour Championship shirt. Um, I was getting trimmed up right before this and needed to switch into something, and I let Sherry pick my shirt, and this is what she picked. And I thought it was perfect because we'll talk about him later, but he ran pretty good where you were. So,
Yes.
um, yeah. So anyway, but I'm peeping what I am imagining is a new shirt over there. So let's hear what you got going on.
Two new shirts. We usually don't do two, but they
No.
go together. So the first one is a Ethan Dotson shirt. Uh, who first night he ran good in the heat, motor issues, had to start in the back, and then the second night I don't remember how he did, but I remember him starting in the back. So I don't know if he had
Okay.
motor issues again or if he just ended up starting there. But then I also with the shirt I got this. You can kind
Oh,
of see it
nice.
the way the light's hitting
Nice.
it, but
Yeah.
e- and then
Did we get an autograph too?
no, we did walk past him in the pits though, but
Okay.
he think he was on the phone if I remember right, and just didn't want to really bother him. And we also got the track shirt as well.
Heck yeah.
Always whenever it's a new track, I try to get a track shirt if they look nice. Some of
Yeah.
them, some of them kind of suck, but those ones,
Yeah.
those ones looked okay. Just wish there was a race car on the back, but that'll do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then I guess we'll jump in to obviously the track I went to, the Talladega short track. And I think last episode we said I was going to the Frostbusters,
Yeah. We named our whole episode and everything about it.
and I think we record on Monday. I think Tuesday Independence rained out, which is Thursday night.
Yep.
But we were still planning on going at that point. It was unfortunate because Independence was the one I was looking forward to the most. And then when no, it was Wednesday. Um, like I was looking at Talladega, but like I wasn't like for sure on it. Or no,
Mhm.
Tuesday night I was looking at it, and
Tuesday night. Yeah. Yep.
Then Wednesday, I texted Ryan because I was like, "Hey, out of curiosity, how far would you be willing to go, like, with me?" And then he was like, "Pretty much anywhere." And I was like, "All right." And I was like, "What do you, how do you feel about going to Talladega this weekend?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure. Well, let's do it then." And main reason we switched to is well, one, it was super cold at Boone.
Yeah.
And Marshalltown. But then Marshalltown showed a chance of rain Friday night, and I really wanted to see two races. Of
Yeah.
course, they got it in,
They
so
did.
good for them. Tiny part of me was like, maybe hopefully they cancel so I don't feel super dumb about going to Alabama. Um, but yeah, they got it in. But anyways, so then yeah, we planned while I was working Wednesday. I was on the phone with Ryan, my mom, my mom was helping get hotels and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and she got all the hotels for us and stuff and where we need them to be and all that, which was greatly appreciated. And then Thursday morning I think I got up at 6 or something to leave to head to Alabama. And our first stop was in Marion, Illinois, which uh fun thing about this trip wasn't planned this way, but every place our hotel was in, a racetrack was also in that same town. And
Oh.
in Marion, Illinois is Southern Illinois Raceway. It's like a micro track.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
we ate dinner there at a place called Logan's Roadhouse. I thought it was like a only there kind of thing, but my mom said
Yeah.
it's a chain apparently. So
Yep.
I don't,
Yep.
yeah, I
Yep.
did not know that, but it was good. Um, And then after that, that was like really the one day we got to relax. It felt like once we got to the hotel, because the next day, the next
Despite your best efforts, you had planned to have it to be a little more relaxing, but
the next day, we had a 6 hour drive from there to Talladega,
Mhm,
and we got 2 hours in. We were in Clarksville, Tennessee, another place where there's a racetrack, and all of a sudden my car started shaking, like the wheel was shaking and stuff, like the steering wheel. And for a second, I
mhm.
was like, some of those sometimes you get on a road and it's kind of shaky, but then all of a sudden it got a lot worse, and I was like, oh, this definitely is not the not the road. And we got over to the shoulder, and I got out and I was like, okay, the wheels aren't flat, so that's about all I know with cars. Wheels aren't flat, and I'm not on fire, so not sure what the
First
issue,
shot of my
not sure
PS.
what the issue could be here. And then I looked, there was a exit like a mile down the road. So we got back on the highway. I was going like 40 miles per hour with the hazards on, got off the exit, stopped at a gas station, called my mom, was like, big problem here. The car, the car is shaking and we're in the middle of Tennessee right now.
Yeah.
And then I found a repair shop that was like 5 minutes away. She called them. Well, I called my friend's mom, who runs a repair shop where I normally go to get my car fixed. Talk
Mhm,
to her, and then she kind of was like, look at this, feel this, and you'll kind of see, and then like if it's anything's wrong. And then she said, feel the right front wheel, and I felt it, like the rim part or whatever, and it was like so hot you couldn't like keep your hand on it. And then when I told her
mhm.
that, she was like, oh yeah, it's your caliper or something like that. And I was like, oh, well, that's great. Pretty much like the brakes were locking up, causing
Yep.
something with the caliper. So then we, after that, got over to the repair shop, told them what was going on, and shout out to Cars, it's called, which stands for Kyle's Auto Repair Shop. They were so clutch in this situation, because we thought we weren't, for a second it was like, okay, do we get an Uber? Do we, to get to Nashville where we could then rent a car or something? But
Mhm.
then they went and looked, they had every part in stock that they needed, which they weren't sure on, so that was kind of stressing me out, but they had everything. They said it would take like hour and a half to 2 hours, and I think it took them an hour and 20 minutes to get it all fixed
Nice.
up. Um, yeah, we didn't know what we were gonna do if we got stuck. It was another
Yeah.
option was stay there that Friday night and then maybe just head up to Boone, so then we're closer to
Yeah.
home.
Mhm.
Um, or if they couldn't fix it, I guess someone was gonna come to Tennessee. I don't know who. Someone was gonna come down here and pick us up, I guess.
We were going racing, dang it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I get it. Like something's gonna have to work out, but sounds like cars came in clutch
Yeah,
and they're gonna have to.
they got it all fixed up. Unfortunately, it was $400 that I wasn't planning on spending, so that
Ah, yeah. This
unfortunate.
is what. So because obviously I knew this was happening while it was happening, and I was thinking about it, and I know that's the bummer, but I will say this: it was awesome that you were right by where you could find someone to fix it. It's awesome that they got you back on the road, and also that was bound to happen anyway.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
so like it happened like in almost the best possible place where you had the day off, you had time,
exactly.
you were right next to a repair shop. It's
And
a
Ryan was saying too, good thing it happened on Friday, like during the day, because if it happened
yeah,
Sunday, I mean, most of the places
night.
are closed. And
Yeah.
I was saying too to Ryan, if we went to Iowa for Frostbusters, assuming like it just happened due to wear and like driving on it,
Yep.
then the same thing would have happened going there. Probably would have just happened on the way back, or on like the way back from Boone back to our hotel in Marshalltown, which would have
Yep.
been at 11 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
would have
On
been even
Friday
worse
night.
probably.
Yeah. I thought
Um,
those things too. Yeah. So it was like super fortunate. It's a bummer, obviously, but like silver linings, it worked out pretty cool. And if I'm not mistaken, you made it to the show more or less on time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want to add one thing at the
Yeah.
repair shop. They let us go into their office area and sit down. They gave us Wi-Fi password and stuff because we were just gonna be stuck there, obviously. So
Yeah.
they were a huge help. But yes, we made it to the
That is
track in
awesome.
time. Unfortunately, our lunch plan was going to be Bucky's, which me and Ryan have never been to. That was scrapped. But we made it to the track, made it through Nashville traffic, which I was stressing. Um, right at 5 o'clock, and hot laps were supposed to start at 6. They didn't. That wasn't a surprise considering the part of the country we were in. They
Yeah.
started at like 6:15, 6:30 ish. And one thing I didn't know, so I thought they were running heats for all the classes because that's what they normally do. I even commented on their Facebook post. Someone was like, typically they run all the classes or all the heats
Hmm.
for every class. Turns out only the Hunt the Front did. The support classes ran qualifying. Thankfully, they
Qualifying.
at least did hot lap qualifying at the same time. But yeah, we could have got there at 8:30 and not missed a single heat race.
Yep.
So that was a little unfortunate, but probably a good thing they didn't run heats because we would have been there a good while. If they qualified and ran heats,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
if they
yeah.
just did heats and skipped the qualifying and whatnot, then it would have been fine. Um, but yeah, once they actually got the
Yeah.
show going though at 8:30, they kept it moving. Like they weren't like they took one track prep break, but other than that, like they weren't taking a 5 minute break in between races or anything. It was one goes off, the next class pulls on. So
Right
so
on.
that was at least a plus, and the racing was good too. Friday nights, I think they had obviously Hunt the Front, and then two classes of late model 602s, and then whatever the sportsmen are. I don't know what kind of motor
Yeah,
are in
I'm
them.
not sure.
I thought they were going to be slower than the 602s, but they were very fast and sounded like
Okay.
supers. So I don't really know what they
Well,
were. Maybe a
maybe.
restrictor or something on them.
Yeah.
And then they had factory stocks. And first up, let's see. First up was late model heats for Hunt the Front. Those were all good. And then factory stock feature, and I was getting worried. I was like, I hope these guys don't crash a lot and they take forever, like with all the
Hmm.
support divisions. But factory stocks went green to checkered. Um, Leader was checked out. Battle for second. The racing was good behind the leader, and
Hmm.
then some B mains, whatnot. But then it was I think the Hunt the Front was second, may have been a support class, but the Hunt the Front feature Friday night was probably the best race of the whole night.
Yeah.
It was Zach Mitchell led, I think the all first
I
38
think it
laps, I
was most
believe.
of it. Yeah.
Might have been someone that led like lap one, but I think he led the whole thing. But then on lap 38, Dale McDowell was able to get by him in traffic. Mitchell was sitting on the bottom, just kind of
Yep.
hanging out, and then McDowell just through the middle, it's not even at the very top, through the middle, just drove right on by him. And I thought it was so I looked up at the big screen on lap 38 and I thought it said 30. I was like, oh, we still got 10 laps left. And all of a sudden like 2 laps later, I was like, oh, the checkered flag though, that's at 38, not so it was like even close, it was even better race than I realized at the
Yep.
time. Um but yeah,
Didn't
that
quite know the moment.
no, I was like, oh, Jesus. I was like really close
Yep.
then. But then yeah, Dale McDowell won. I think that's the first time I've ever seen him win in person too. So that was pretty cool. Might
That is really
will
cool.
probably be the last time, most likely.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not that he wins, but that I see him in person,
Yeah,
winning.
exactly. I took that to mean you
Yes.
won't likely be in attendance the next time he wins
And shout
or
out
again.
to Ashton Winger, who's on your shirt during the feature.
Yep.
He was running the top like the whole time, and then when he passed, I don't know where he started, but he passed a couple guys, and they all joined him, and so it wasn't everyone wasn't hanging on the bottom. They were right up against the wall. Well,
Nice.
in one and two, and not in three and four. No wall there.
Yeah.
Um, but then yeah, after that, was able to go back to the hotel, and then Saturday we got to relax a bit more. Um, just we had to check out at 11 a.m. because we weren't going to stay there Saturday night.
Right.
But we actually got to get like 8 hours of sleep, so that was a plus. Um, and then we went to the International Motorsports Hall of Fame, which is right next to the NASCAR track on the dirt track, I guess.
Nice.
Um, and they have a museum part and then another part where you can do a tour of the NASCAR track. And we did the museum first, and that was pretty cool. It was just a bunch of old NASCARs. There was some late models in there,
Yeah.
um, a couple drag cars. There was one car. It was like I don't know how long it was, but it was like the world's fast at the time. Maybe I don't know if it still is, but like fastest thing on land or whatever. And like the
Okay.
wheels were like as wide as like bike tires, and it looked like a rocket, like almost like a rocket. And like
Yeah.
I looked in the cockpit, like there was no way. Like you have to be like 5'2" to even fit in that thing. But that was really cool.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, I think all the pictures are on the Dirt Info Facebook page. So
I think so. Did I see somewhere too they had like pictures of like some crashes too
yes,
as well? Yeah.
yes. So I've seen the videos of them, but I know one of them for sure was at Bristol. They used to have like a gate there that would like move to get cars in and out or whatever. And
Hmm.
he hit like right where that gate was. and I guess there was like a little bit of a part that stuck out or something, and like
Mhm.
it ripped the whole car in half. And then they had it at the museum, the car, and I don't know how he lived that because like
Yeah.
his head was like fully exposed. Like if anyone happened to hit him after, it would have not been good. Like
Yeah.
and then like literally like he was like 2 inches a different way, like his head would have been crushed by the roll cage and all this stuff. And then there was another one that
Crazy.
was the exact same where the guy like hit the wall and then another car hit him like right in the middle and like split the car open. And he was like, if he got hit one more time, would have been. I think that was Michael Waltrip that happened to.
Okay.
And there was a couple other cars that were pretty junk in there,
Pretty
but
gnarly.
those
Yeah.
two were the craziest. They were literally like pretty much split in half for the most part.
That's crazy. And they both walked away. That's wild,
Yes,
right?
they
Like,
were
just,
totally
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, we did the track tour at Talladega Super Speedway, which was really cool actually.
Yeah. I
First, so
do have
first,
a question.
go on.
So my running gag is, does it count as seeing a race? So I saw that you guys were on like shuttle bus
Yeah,
and went around, and I'm curious, does that count as a race? Because there was multiple people there. So technically the driver won the race, but second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way
there was
back.
no green flag. No, there was nothing to start the race. I don't even count it as a new track. I have to see a race for it to even
Fair,
count it as a new
fair
track.
enough.
Um,
Fair enough.
but we went on like the highest part, well, highest part that we were allowed to go. There was
Okay.
obviously there was so we were the highest part of the grandstands, and then there was the spotters area which we couldn't go up on.
Hmm.
But it was super windy. I don't know if we wanted to go up there because it was windy already, and then when you're that high up, it was extremely windy.
Yeah.
Um, but that was a really cool view. Like 'cause you could see probably not as good of a view when there's a bunch of haulers in the infield and stuff,
Yeah.
but you could see like a good portion of the track. Really, the only hard part was the backstretch that you couldn't really see.
Okay.
Then after that, we went back on the bus and we did a lap around the track, but it's so banked where I think if the bus tried to go on the track, we would have rolled rolled back down.
Immediately.
But so we drove right below the yellow line, that's like the apron of the knot. We drove
Yep.
on that and like you were like way sideways. And he kind of did it as like a surprise. Like, unfortunately, we can't go on the track, but we can do this. And then Ryan, who is to my left, almost flew out of his seat when he did that. Um, and that part's got 23 degrees of banking, and I think he said the actual track is 33 degrees. So,
Okay.
and we were already nearly falling out of our seats. Did a lap around there, then we stopped at Victory Lane, got a picture there, um, and that was pretty much it. But it was still really cool, seeing like the going on the track, seeing the Victory Lane. But the bleachers I really like too. I
Yeah.
don't know why, just 'cause seeing the whole way at the way top is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where we spend our time normally, is in the
Exactly, yeah,
bleachers,
that's where we are.
right? So
We're
like,
not in Victory Lane or on the track,
yeah,
so
yeah. So like that part's cool to us. Like, I could see watching a race from here. That'd be pretty
exactly, pretty
awesome. Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah. So
Um,
no.
and then after that, we went back to the dirt track, and unfortunately, we had to check out of our hotel at 11, so we were kind of just stuck with nowhere to go besides the dirt track. We ate earlier already at a Waffle House, by the way. Had to do that when we were down there.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. I was wondering. I actually, when I first heard you were going down there, I started looking to see if I knew of any of the barbecue joints around there. Because like I lived there for 4 years, so I'm like, I was on the other side of the state. I was in Tuscaloosa going to school. That's actually where that thing came from. But but yeah, so like I was looking for barbecue joints for y'all to go to. But I'm glad you found a Waffle House. Like
Yeah,
if
we
not not barbecue, then Waffle House.
got our Waffle House, but then yeah, after the NASCAR track, we walked around the pits. Shout out to you for getting us pit passes for the weekend, by the way. Walked around the
Yeah.
pits, took a couple pictures, and then after that, we just hung out in the stands, waiting around. Nothing else to do, and then
To be
finally the
fair, real quick, I want to make a quick clarification. So I did help get those, but like I want to say thank you to Dirt Draft too for kind of helping make
yes,
that happen. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. Like credit where credit's due. But yeah, so I just didn't want to let that ride like like it was all me. I had help. But yeah, no, that was kind of cool.
and then
I was glad I could help out that way.
Saturday night they had mods, 604s, four cylinders, or actually I don't think they're all four cylinders. Well, they go by hot shots down there, so I'll call them a hot
Okay.
shot. And then obviously Hunt the Front. 604s didn't really care about. Good race, but wasn't really didn't wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to see the 604 late models. The mods I was honestly concerned about because mods in the Midwest are great. Mods in the Southeast worried me a little bit. They had a couple cautions, but it was like maybe three. It wasn't really that bad. And when there was a
Okay.
caution, they lined them up fairly quick. Like it was maybe 1 or 2 laps around like under caution, they were back lined up.
Mhm.
Um, then the late model feature, Hunt the Front one, was good for a while, and then it rubbered with like 15 to go-ish, 15, 20 probably, which was unfortunate, but you'll have that. It was really
Yeah.
windy and it was super hot. Like it was super windy that day. So I wasn't like really surprised by it. There was a minute though where I saw Michael Page found the rubber before anybody else. I was like, oh, he's gonna drive by him in this rubber because he got
Mhm.
by Gustin and then Sam Seawright, who ended up winning. Uh,
Mhm.
was running like the top, and I was like, "Oh, Michael Page is just gonna drive right by him." And then see, I don't think they had any. I don't think they do stick signals or anything.
I'm
They
not
didn't.
sure,
They
but
didn't even have. I don't even know if they had a work area. They had no like crew members go in the infield unless they do it
hmm,
outside of the track.
maybe
Like,
outside the turn. Yeah.
but yeah, then Seawright went to the bottom, and then after that, it was just kind of follow the
Oh,
leader.
later.
But
Yeah.
but then after the last race of the night, which it was getting kind of late, and we had a 4 hour drive to make, and we were like, do we stay? But then if it was the mods, may have left, but it was the hot shots or the sport compacts, Hornets, whatever you want to call them,
Mhm.
and the ones down there are a million times cooler than the ones by us. They are the SCDRA. I don't know what that's.
SCDR. Yeah.
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 Um, which if you've seen like Screven, the Winter Freeze on Flow Racing, they have that I think 20K to win show, and they're like literally like
Mhm.
running a cushion, which you never see by us
Yeah.
Hornets. But yeah, and they're way faster, and there was I think 4 or 5. There was only 10 of them there, and half the field was like right next to each other for all 15 laps, like the whole time. And then
Okay.
I don't even remember what happened on the last lap, but some crazy stuff happened on the last lap. The leader, second place was spinning out. He got slammed into stuff like that, but it was very entertaining. I was glad I stayed for the one last feature. But
Yeah.
then after that, oh, I want to mention too, on Friday night I had my first fried bologna sandwich, which
Ooh.
was good. I don't know what I was expecting, but I just for some reason didn't think it was going to be great. Um, but it just tasted like a bologna sandwich. So
Just fried, right?
yeah, pretty much. But then yeah, after that it was 4 hours to our hotel in Clarksville. Um, and that was interesting because it was storming.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Sorry,
this
I'm having slight technical
you're
difficulties, but I
good.
think I got to figure it out.
You're good.
I'm listening. Fried bologna sandwiches actually reminds me. Speaking of my dad, like that reminds me of like going hunting with my dad. So when I saw that was on the menu,
Have
I'm
you
like,
had
heck
one
yeah.
before?
Oh, for
Oh
sure. I
yeah.
grew up on those things. We weren't rich. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed my bologna sandwich. So
Yeah.
not I kind of wouldn't mind if they were up here. I wouldn't get them weekly, but I'd get one on occasion over like a burger sometimes. Um,
Slight minor detour. Bologna sandwich, fried bologna sandwich is good. Definitely Minnesota thing for sure, though. Fried spam sandwiches, whole nother level. And we don't
I've
have to turn it
never
into
had spam, so
ah, just don't do what my friend Andy did in high school and hear me talk about how good spam was. Buy the can, open it, take a spoon, go in cold, and eat the freaking
no,
jelly on top. Don't
not gonna
do that.
happen.
Don't be Andy. All right. But I do recommend trying it fried up at least once. If you like salt, you'll like spam.
But
Anyway, moving on.
yeah, Saturday after the races, this was the last really like stressful part was there was a storm the storm that canceled everything in the Midwest besides pretty much like the Frostbusters. I think that was like the
Mhm.
only thing that happened. That storm, like I don't know how weather works, but cold air in one spot and warm air in one spot pushing into it caused it to stay
Yeah.
in one spot the whole time. So like from like Texas all the way to like Michigan, there was a storm, and obviously that
Mhm.
is right. We have to drive in the middle
Pretty
of
much
that when we
right
go.
along it. Yeah.
Yeah, when we go through Southern Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, that's all storm. Friday we kind of lucked out and they had like a drier day and it was some light rain and stuff and that was it. And then Saturday
Mhm.
was the one that was worrying me because it started moving down towards Alabama. It would have been after the races were over, so that
Yeah.
part didn't concern me. But the way home, we would have been driving right into it and there was like an hour period where it was storming, like super, super heavy storm, and we were going probably like 40 miles per hour down the highway, along with everybody else next to me. Couldn't see the lines on
Mhm.
the road. Um, so that was not fun. But once we got through that to our hotel, the rest of it wasn't too bad, besides driving through Chicago, because I hate doing that. I think we've mentioned that before, but
Yeah, you in
but
city. So you got stuck in Chicago and in
yeah.
Nashville. There are some ups and downs on this trip, Carter. That's for sure,
And
man.
we also stopped at our first Bucky's too on the on the way
Awesome.
back that night. We had to get an energy
Yeah.
drink, and then I had a burrito kind of thing. I was gonna get the brisket because it's known for like the brisket, but then the burrito, I don't know. I just was dying. I think because last year at the same time I was in Cedar Lake and I had a burrito. I was probably it's been
Mhm.
I needed one. It's been a whole year since I had one. Um,
That's the last burrito you had,
it,
or last green chili burrito you
last
had?
it wasn't a green chili one, but it was similar with some of the stuff that
Okay.
were in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had burritos, but since then, obviously, but it was like a Taco Bell one or something, you know,
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
wasn't a Bucky's or a Cedar Lake burrito.
Oh, yeah.
Um, also learned I had a headlight that went out at some point
Mm,
that day, so that's add that to the things I'll have to fix uh this week. But
yeah,
that's I'll take a headlight over my brakes
yeah,
going out again or whatever happened there.
right. I mean, all in all, a couple of battle scars, it sounds like, but like on the whole, definitely a cool experience and awesome that you just kind of like on a whim. I mean, I know
Yeah,
you were
literally
definitely going racing, but like
we
that came together in a hurry.
it
Yeah.
was funny. I remember saying to you, I think it was, I may have said it on here, but I know I've said to you, uh, like some of my backup options for that weekend, and I was like, "There's no way, not everything can rain out."
Yeah.
And then, well, of course, except for the things I had planned, which is kind of everything did literally rain out in the
Yeah.
Midwest
You had
from
a you were talking as far as like Kentucky, Missouri, and we were kind
yeah,
of like joking about how
Missouri,
far that was. And then you
Missouri,
ended up in
Kentucky,
Alabama.
Indiana, Ohio, like
Yeah.
Illinois was all in play, and I think everything there rained
Mhm.
out, like literally everything. Paducah, which was like the main Friday backup option, I think did you see the picture?
Yeah.
It was like we drove past it. We couldn't see it from the highway, but we were like within a mile of the track when we drove by.
Okay.
And yeah, like on the side of the roads, like it was like, is that a lake or is that a flooded field? Like that's how bad it was.
Jeez.
And the track, but yeah, the Paducah racetrack is it's like up
Underwater.
yeah, and that's a pretty banked
Yeah.
track, and it's like up to
Yeah.
the uh the walls around it. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we should at least a little bit like run down the winners of your of of if we didn't mention it, Dale McDowell, Sam
yeah, we
Seawright,
mentioned
but just a couple other guys. Zach Mitchell was the guy that got passed. You mentioned that, and then third was Garrett Alberson, who was a late minute ad
yes.
that you were stoked about. That's why I wanted to get there. There was more to it. So you weren't the only one who was making last
No,
minute plans.
I guess him and Gustin too, because I think
Yep.
World of Outlaws rained out at Atomic, I think
Yep.
on Thursday, or maybe
I believe so.
Wednesday. I think it might have been Wednesday, but either way, Gustin was another one that was kind of later addition.
Yep. Yep. And then speaking of him, he was so you had already done the top two on Saturday. I'll just hit the third one. Gustin was third too. So he kind of they you and I were chatting, and you probably mentioned on social media and stuff too, but like 50 freaking cars.
Yeah,
So
that was Friday, which was a series record. I think the highest they had was somewhere in the high 40s, and then Saturday
mhm.
night, four more showed up, and they had
Yeah,
54. So
yeah. Heck yeah. So that's I mean, it's nice that when you made that decision, it kind of
yeah,
despite some of the
I
bumps in the
kind of
road.
figured they were gonna have a good car count, but then when I think right after Atomic rained out is when I was like, oh, they're gonna have more cars, like even more cars. I was
Yeah.
like, screw it, let me ask Ryan. I think that's kind of what swayed my decision was the Atomic rain out. And it
Mhm.
was 85 and sunny in Alabama too, so that was
Yeah,
also a
there's
plus.
that. You don't look nearly as sunburnt as I expected.
They were even saying too, usually 80, 85 even for that time of year is still high. It's like 70s or
Yeah,
something. Like it was summer weather for them. I think my
yeah, it
back of my
doesn't.
neck is a bit sunburnt, by the way.
Okay.
You can't see it, but
Yeah. Well, that's where the phrase redneck originates, right? So, but anyway, it is cool that you went. Like I lived there for 4 years. I went to school there for 3 years, and then I worked down there for a year before I moved back to Minnesota. And I haven't been back since. Colton was born in Alabama. My youngest was born in Alabama. So, um, so I thought it was cool that you went down. I wasn't as familiar with that side of things, but man, with a little advance notice, I could have probably even hooked you up with a place to stay. I've got a buddy that stays in Auburn, which is right out that way. Like one of my best friends. Um, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah, one of my best friends. Just period. I was gonna say from law school, but probably one of my best friends. And him and I haven't seen each other in over a decade either. To be quite real with you, but anyway, I'm rambling. Frostbusters. So the show you were supposed to go, and we built an entire show around last episode.
A good thing we did though, because they were the only thing that got
Yeah.
in the Midwest.
Yeah, yeah. But I think I saw on Friday night the stock car feature was kind of a banger. I don't know
Yep.
if you caught wind of that. Yep. It was Down Murdy, Kelly Shryock, and then the ultimate winner of that race was
Justin
Justin
Lunenberg, I
Lugan.
believe is. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So that was the really all I caught of that. So truth be told, I warned everyone I was in Sherry birthday mode this weekend, and I definitely was. So, but I saw that looked kind of cool. As far as mods go, Troy Morris the third won, night one at Marshalltown, and then on Saturday, uh, kind of our boy Dylan Thornton, he was in a
Yeah.
mod back in a mod, and he won at Boone. So he wins a lot at Boone though. So that's
Yeah. I think he won the Super Nationals there in three different classes, but I don't think
yep.
anyone, Ricky Thornton might have done it, but I think him and Ricky, both Thorntons are the only two to have done that, I believe. So, and then
No
Kelly
relation either.
Shyrock won the stock car feature at Boone.
Yep. Yep.
And
I
then
was curious. You might not know this, so this may hopefully we can. If we neither one of us know, it, maybe one of our fans can tell us. Did they? Do you think they paid out the points
I
fund
don't
for
know.
that?
I was thinking about that. I'm not sure if they did or if it relied on like all four races getting in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not
I'm
really
not sure.
sure. Not really sure how they did that. I heard it was uh now I forgot what I was gonna say. I don't know. Oh, I saw the sport mod feature too. I didn't watch the highlights, but I saw them mentioned a whole bunch, and I probably should have watched it. But the sport mod feature was super good, apparently. Cam Reimers ended up winning that.
Okay, that
Um,
was on Saturday.
yeah, at Boone.
Yep. Yep.
But I guess that was like race of the night there. So,
Nice. Nice.
um,
We'll have to go back and look at that. I didn't write it down who won. I debated back and forth if I should or shouldn't. So, but yeah. All right, cool. Well, maybe we'll have to go back and look at that. To be quite frank, that was all the racing that got in. I forgot to mention it last week, but Tom's was the Touring Outlaw Modified Series supposed to run down in Texas. They got I think they got all their heats done, and they got rained out before the feature, and then Saturday got rained out too. So like they tried their dangest and they still didn't get it in. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all the racing that happened uh, that we usually talk about. So looking forward, um, World of Outlaws is running the Illini 100 at where's that?
Farmer City.
Farmer City. Farmer City. That's a tiny little thing,
Hey,
right?
it's a quarter mile.
Okay, yeah, one of those Illinois bull ring style
Although
tracks.
it's a quarter mile, but it feels bigger than Fairbury, which is also a quarter mile. So I don't know. Quarter mile
Okay,
depending where you measure it, I think.
fair enough. Fair enough. I'm debating in my head why it might be, but you're probably right. Just where do they measure it?
Yeah,
Anyway,
well, like
moving.
Marshalltown claims to be a quarter mile, and I can promise you that if you've been to Marshalltown and Fairbury, Marshalltown looks like a half mile compared to Fairbury. So
some creative, some creative measurements there. Uh, but so so they're running for I think it is 12,000 and 20,000, and then I just caught wind of this. I think you knew more about this than I did, but they're running an unsanctioned race at Lucas Oil as well for
yes,
7,000 and 20,000.
yes. So that's was an MLRA race in the past, obviously not
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
And yeah, last year for sure they went against each other, and probably a few like the past years before that. But I know for sure last year they were head to head.
okay,
Um, Obviously, none of the Outlaw guys go there. A few Lucas guys go there, especially like Davenport. I think he
yeah,
won both nights last year. Marler, I'm pretty sure was there, and then a few others. But I think some of them go to test for like the Show Me 100 and
Yeah,
whatnot.
there's some big shows there coming
So
up, so
like,
that would
yeah,
make
so
sense.
it kind of works
Yeah.
out. And some guys just,
Davenport shreds there. He's just super good there.
yeah,
So if
he's
they're
just
putting
really
up
good there.
20
I mean, it's
grand, he might as well just
free
go
money
pick it
for
up.
him.
Yeah. I mean, you swing through and grab it real quick, sure. But
Yeah, I'm not sure
yeah,
who all will be there. I know Davenport, Carson Ferguson, um,
yeah. I saw
Clayton
Clayton Stuckey
Stuckey.
will
I
be
think
there.
those only three I've saw. They'll obviously have more. But
I mean, Mars is off, so anyone who's out that way that runs Mars may or may not,
yeah,
may or may not.
some of those guys that ran MLRA
Yeah,
in that area will probably show up.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
and
Mars
then
has a slightly bigger footprint this year, so like I don't know.
yeah,
I
because
feel like The
they
Simpsons maybe or
kind of
something.
took that
Yeah,
MLRA
yeah,
races. So
yeah. But I suspect like the Illinois guys from Mars, like the Fagers
oh yeah, they're
and
gonna be
they'll
at Farm
yeah,
City.
yep, 100%. Yeah,
Because I
I
mean,
don't know that for sure, but I
Wheeland
imagine so.
Lucas Oil Speedway is still pretty far away. Like it's not.
Yeah,
They're not like 3 hours away from each other. I think it's probably
right,
like
right.
six or more. So,
Yeah,
uh,
there's some distance.
and speaking
Yeah.
of Mars, at Farmer City, the Mars Modifieds kick off their season. They were supposed to last weekend, and then
Hmm.
obviously the storms. Paducah, they Paducah didn't race, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, they were gonna be at there.
Charleston
Yeah,
Speedway. But yeah, they start at Farmer City. So
yep.
I
Pair
assume they'll
2K to
get
win shows.
a really good car count for that. So a lot of like Indiana guys and stuff go over there. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, I suspect they will. I was just trying to think. There's a few other things running, but not like really that direction, and not
yeah.
UMP. So yeah,
Guess it
you know,
depends where in Indiana you're from and all that stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. No, but I'm actually kind of excited that. So that'll probably cause me to at least be cognizant of it. But again, I got Sherry birthday parties again this weekend. This upcoming weekend's a little lighter, so maybe I'll catch some more. But yeah, no, I am interested in seeing that. I want to pay a little more attention to that. So you may catch me talking more about the Mars modifieds at some point. Um, I wonder if. Oh yeah, they don't stream on Flow when they're not with the late model, so
so
I'll get to watch them on Dirt
yeah,
Vision.
the mods are just on whatever is streaming that race, and then the late
Yep,
models are always Flow.
yep, cool, cool. So I'll get to see them. I think the other big modified show running is USMTS is at Hamilton County this coming weekend. Pair of 5K to win shows Friday, Saturday. Um, I actually once drove to Hamilton County. I think it's like 5.5-ish hours from where I'm at, and I was pulling up down the road off the freeway to get in, and all of a sudden I see a hauler going the other way, and I look at Sherry and I go, "We should just double check if they're rained out," and they were, and yeah, it's probably a fair good decision. It wasn't raining, but it's probably a fair good decision all the same. It had pretty moist and just kind of and that's a big racetrack. So it's the moment we drove. But on the bright side, I got to go blow $200 at Diamond Joe's on the way back home at the casino. So whatever.
Did you get to
I
look
made
at
the
the
best of
track
it.
at least, like in the
Yeah.
stands? Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's a plus at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. We got there and Sherry grabbed the phone and figured it out before we pulled in, but I was like, we drove all the way
Yeah, at
here.
least got to see the racetrack.
Yeah, we are gonna go take a look. So we pulled up and parked and walked around and looked. It's a big old racetrack. It's a big old racetrack. It is huge. And it's kind of that old style fair one with like the wooden
Yep.
big huge grandstands that are covered. So that I always dig that vibe, but yeah, it's a big racetrack.
Yeah.
It's big. So, I don't know. The car count will not be King of America esque. I don't believe.
No, I don't think
This
so.
weekend. Yeah. So, but I think Tom Barry will be there.
Yes, he
So
will. He
there's
will. I
that.
did see he will be there. And I can actually say I saw for sure on Facebook. It isn't I think I saw. I saw for sure that he said he will be there. So
Yep. Yep. So, well, I'll definitely catch his number at some point this weekend. But anyway, we belabored that, but I think it is cool that he'll be there though. I'm a Tom Berry. He has new merch with the new shirt. I'm
I
gonna
saw
lodge
that.
the same complaint. I'm close. I'm slimming down a little, but I'm just not comfortably in a 3 yet. So I'm just sized out. I want one so bad. Anyway, Uh, and then there's another USRA series, the Heartland Modified Tour is running this weekend as well. One of the rare sort of conflicts between those two series, um, but I don't think it's going to have much of an impact on either one's car counts, to be real with you. Um, so they're at Electric City Speedway. I don't know anything about Electric City. I should have probably at least looked where it was, but I like the name.
It's in
So I'm like,
Missouri.
is it?
That was
And
a
then
backup option for this last weekend.
and then they're at I-35 as well. So
Also
I don't know.
Missouri.
Okay. So I don't know. I'm curious to check out those tracks. That's on Racing Dirt as well. So if I got the Racing Dirt working hot, I can switch back and forth between the two. I'll maybe report back what I find out, or I'll just be super busy trying to prepare for Sherry's party and slash at Sherry's party. So, and then I did just want to mention too, the Mod Mafia has a 3,000 to win show at Natural Bridge, and again, I'm just like so under researched. I feel really like I'm not bringing the goods for you guys
Let me guess. I have
today.
no idea. I'm gonna guess Virginia. That's my guess. I don't know where it
You're
is.
okay. Okay, you're right.
There we go. It was that, or
Nailed
I was
it.
thinking that or North Carolina. It was between those two.
Yep, yep. So, and that's 3,000 to win. So another decent number for UMP mods. So there's money to be won out there. I think Heartland's 2,000 each night. Mars is 2,000 each night. USMTS is 5. So
Northern All Stars, oops, mod
I
tour
yeah,
is underway too, aren't they? Aren't they somewhere?
no, I think it was just the late models
Oh,
are
just the
at.
late models?
I think it's Florence though. So the
It is
likelihood that
Florence,
goes.
yes. We'll
I
do
don't
con
know what Florence's situation looks like given the weather, but
we'll do some
um,
on the fly researching. It is the
yeah.
mods, 1200 for the mods as well.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay. Then they have. I missed that update in my master schedule. I'll have to go back and fix it. So thanks for bringing that up. Right on. Cool. I didn't know that. So Carter gives me crap about all the mods I want to talk about, and here he is bringing more in. Anyway, I appreciate the catch though, for real. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on around the country. I don't think I've got anything else to look to kind of bring to our viewers' attention, which
Mhm.
probably then means
Means I gotta mention
ooh.
too, I am going to races again this weekend.
Oh, you are. That's right.
Uh, gotta stop hitting my table. I'm going to Gravity Park Speedway in Chilton, Wisconsin, which is I don't go there. The only time I ever go there in the whole year is first week or two of April until the other Friday tracks that are closer open up. So it's like
Hmm.
a tradition to go here. It'll probably be rough. It's April in Wisconsin. I don't even they practiced this past Saturday. I don't know how they did with the weather we've been having, but they plan on racing, so I'll be there Friday. Um, at least this time if my car breaks down, I'm only an hour away too. But
That's
then
nice.
but then the next
You gotta get
day
the headlight fixed first.
yeah, it's going in Wednesday.
All right.
Then the next day, I am going to Coles County Speedway in Mattoon, Illinois, I believe is the town name. And I'm going there to stream my first stream of the year, so hopefully I don't suck. But
You won't. You won't. You don't. You just don't. So you won't.
but it's a micro track in which I've never been to a legit like micro track. I've seen micro sprints, but it's always on like a track made for modifieds and whatnot, and they don't always race as good there. So I'm kind of excited to see them on a purposely built track for them. And then they
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
have the Badger Midgets, which is a series, or maybe it's Mara Midgets. They're like kind of one thing. But
Mhm.
either way, it'll have the same kind of guys. And they're not like the same speed as like USAC midgets. I think they're like a little slower, but they're still going to rip around a fifth mile or whatever
Yeah.
Coles
Yeah.
County is. So I'm excited to see that. Yeah, never been there before, so we'll see how it goes. And then after that, I come home. It's 6 hours away or whatever, so
Mm.
a lot half not it's half as long as Talladega though. So
Yeah. Yeah. I, I'm so now you got me thinking. You said you hope you don't suck, and you said you never shot on a fifth mile, and they're micro, so they're kind of cooking. So are you doing anything to prepare? Or are you just like you have any
my preparing is watching other streams from there. That's
fair
all I
enough.
can really do.
There you go. Cerebral. This is this isn't about physical skill, is it? No, I'm
Actually,
too hard.
I don't mind. I've never done a 5th mile, but I actually like the smaller tracks because I did a half-mile once, and I think it's actually bigger than a half mile. It's like half mile at the inside, from what
Hmm.
the announcer said in Antigo, Wisconsin. I did that, and you have to zoom in like so much because how far away they are from you. Or on like a 5th mile, you still need to zoom in. I'm not zoomed out the whole time, but it's just
Right.
like you don't have to zoom in as much. You can kind of just focus on just following the cars. Not that I'm locked in on pressing the zoom button or anything, but
Yeah.
it's a lot easier on a smaller track, and you can
Right
see
on.
everything around you that's kind of going on.
Yeah. 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 One as the show goes on and on, we'll probably find more about what's going on. But I assume like, are, I don't know. Do you have directions on who to follow from the start, or are you on the headset and
No,
you're listening to?
I get the announcer. I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just videoing the race, just so I
Yep.
follow where there's a battle. If the leader's checked out, I'm not going to stay on him. I'll follow the battle for
Right.
third place or whatever's going on.
Okay.
But yeah, all I get is I just hear the announcer, which so if he's talking about something, I'll try to go to that if I can.
Try to find it. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the
Cool.
one thing about streaming at places where you're not there often is sometimes you don't know a guy. They'll say, "Oh, this guy, whatever, say his last name's Johnson. Oh, Johnson's getting by this guy." It's like I don't know who Johnson is. That's
Fair enough. Fair
like you
enough.
try to look on my race pass before the
Yeah.
show to kind of, but like yeah, you don't know any of these guys' raps or anything. It's like hopefully I
Mm,
remember after hot laps who each and every one of these cars are. And
yeah.
on micros, they got such like like the non-wing micros. All you can see is the little number. Like half the cars,
Yeah. On the tail tank
you
that's
can't
covered
really.
up by a
It's not
dirt
like
bar or whatever.
distinct colors and stuff like on a stock car or something. It's easier
Yeah.
to. So yeah, it's not easy, but on those kind of cars. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get it figured out.
Yeah. You'll knock it out of the park. You always do. So right on. That's cool. And that's a new gig you picked up this year, right?
Uh,
The
That
Badger.
track.
The yeah,
Yeah, the badge.
that
Yeah,
track,
yeah.
and that series. Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
streaming
Yeah. Yeah.
since 2023, but yeah, I'll
Yeah. Yeah.
do
Yeah. Yeah.
that race and then a few at Angel Park for 'em, and then maybe if I available, I can maybe do one or two more, but I'm pretty booked with streams, so
Right on. Well, means you're doing something right if you're staying that busy. That's all I
yeah,
gotta say about that. But anyway, I guess with that, then now we are ready, and that means Carter, it's time for.
the one for the road, and I will start at Marshalltown Speedway. We've been talking a lot about Iowa tracks. They have
Mhm.
another big race this weekend. They have King of the High Banks is the name, and it's 5,000 to win for the IMCA stock cars. And I think it's like double heats the first day, I believe, kind of like what Beatrice did,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then B mains and features. It's a Thursday Friday show. Um, and then they have mods, hobby stocks, all that. Mods I think race for 1,000 and then 1,500 the second day, so they get a pretty good payout too.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'm assuming they'll get 60 plus stock cars if I had to guess. Especially 'cause it's early in the year still. Not everyone's racing yet, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, they
Yeah.
so that's I'll watch that on Thursday night. Friday, I hopefully I can't watch it because I'm at a racetrack. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, always highlights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So that's good. That'll definitely be on my radar, though. That's at least like a my race pass thing, right? Like that's the other part of being a race fan. So you can't watch everything, but it's nice
Exactly.
knowing what the cool
If
shows are to just go kind of see who's winning, who's doing good, that kind of stuff. So
Thursday might be you might not I assume you don't have the birthday parties on Thursday, right?
no, I'm
So
mostly
you
free
might actually
Thursday.
be able to watch Thursday.
Ooh, maybe I will. Hey, can you do me a favor and remind me though, please? Like, I'll eventually figure it out, but sometimes that's chief kiddos and running baseball practices and stuff. So sometimes I get lost in that stuff. So yeah, just text me and I'll make sure to throw it
I'll
on for a
try my
little
best.
bit.
I might forget.
Yeah.
I might forget to remind you. So
Yeah, we'll remember to tell y'all about it. Just sometimes, But anyway, so that means it's my turn, I think. And
yep.
so I'll end with a little bit of a shameless promotion for both of us, truthfully, right? So Dirt Info, which is more or less the pod too. Well, it is the pod, right? That's Dirt Info podcast. So anyway, but Dirt Info is that we told you before we're on a race car. Well, Ashley Merriworth previewed her wrap this weekend, and I saw our logo on a car for the first time. And I'm not gonna lie, it made my whole night. It kind of made my whole weekend. It's a weird feeling to see my little brand on a race car. Like, and Ashley Merriweather's race car, to be kind of real about it, like at the time when I announced it, I've seen her race a bunch and she races around me, and I think she's a badass racer. So, like, have my logo on her car is freaking rad. I don't know how else to say it. I'm like really stupidly pumped, and I'm I'm a little okay that things are mostly getting weathered out by me because I want to be where she is when it first hits the track. Honestly, like, I probably won't be able to with all the stuff going on, but I would like to try. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see it in person. I want
Want
before
to
I
want,
get any
but yeah,
scuffs.
before
I mean, I believe it's up like right above the right rear or the left rear. I'm not actually sure, but it's gonna get scuffed up. I'd like to see it while I can still see it. So anyway, but yeah, I think that's cool. I hope to be able to do more of that. I'll just say that. Like, I really do. I make a little cash through the dirt racing thing, and I like to put a little back in. I don't know.
nothing.
That's not an advertisement for people to come running. I don't make that much, and I don't have that much. But, like, as this grows, hopefully, as this grows, I hope those opportunities come around more frequently, and that we're able to be involved in that way. It makes me excited to do that. So, um,
Nothing's stopping you from just buying a bunch of stickers and just sneaking around the pit areas, slapping them on. Oh, look at got
Uh,
one of them.
I mean, I've had people reach out. This is stupid. So this is I'm just gonna talk about. Like, I have tried kind of hard, and admittedly, I don't know a lot of people in that. I don't own a race car. I don't know people really to get wraps and stuff. But I would like my money. This is another weird thing. Like, I don't care what. I mean, I care what the price is, but I don't care if I'm paying a little extra if I can do it with someone like uh, someone who prints wraps. If I can get some stickers from them, and maybe I pay a couple bucks more than I would if I went to some, like, you know, thing on the internet and got,
Yeah,
you know, I'm okay with that. But I don't have people, and the few people I've tried to reach out to, it just hasn't worked. And so, like, that has really been my hang up, is like I'm like trying to spend more, like spend more and get less, almost, just on principle of wanting to keep it in this industry. So I guess that's a PSA to anyone who might have made it this far. Like, if you know someone local to me in Minnesota, would be even like the best for me personally. Like, I'd like to keep my money right here with my racers and my guys. But the racing industry is the racing industry. But if anyone can hook that up, I've been this close to spending like $50 and getting 100 from one of those shops, and I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. But I've gotten close. I've gotten close because we need them. We really do need them. I know I'm sleeping on that, but there's a reason why. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on that. But yeah, also not the same thing, Carter, because it's not part of the wrap.
no, but it's still your sticker on a car until they
Fair enough.
notice it and take it off.
For real. But anyway, this is so late in the episode. I don't think anyone's going to hear my rant on that anyway. But I think that's everything, Carter. Um, so thank you all for watching. Appreciate it. If you made it this far, definitely hit something down there. Anyway, appreciate it. See y'all next week.